Text 27. Atha bhaje tvakhila purushottamam gunalayam padmakareva lalasa api apayore kapati Prithu nasyat tatva charanai katanayo. Now I wish to engage in the service of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and to serve just like the Goddess of Fortune, who carries a lotus flower in her hand because His Lordship, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. I am afraid that the Goddess of Fortune and I would quarrel because both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service. The Lord is addressed here as Akhila Purushottama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the entire creation. Purusha means the enjoyer and Uttama means the best. There are different kinds of Purushas or enjoyers within this universe. Generally, they can be divided into three castes or three classes. Those who are conditioned, those who are liberated, and those who are eternal. In the Vedas, the Supreme Lord is called the Supreme Eternal of all eternals, Nityo Nityanam. Both the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the living entities are eternal. The Supreme Eternals are the Vishnu Tattva, or Lord Vishnu and his expansions. So Nitya refers to the personality of Godhead beginning from Krishna to Mahavishnu, Narayan and other expansions of Lord Krishna. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ramadimurtishu, there are millions and trillions of expansions of Lord Vishnu as Rama, Narsimha, Varaha and other incarnations. All of them are called eternals. The word Mukta refers to the living entities who never come within this material world. The Baddhas are those living entities who are almost eternally living within this material world. The Baddhas are struggling very hard within this material world to become free from the threefold miseries of material nature and to enjoy life, whereas the Muktas are already liberated. They never come into this material world. Lord Vishnu is the master of this material world, and there is no question of his being controlled by material nature. Consequently, Lord Vishnu is addressed here as Purushottama, the best of the all living entities, namely Vishnu Tattvas and the Jiva Tattvas. It is a great offense, therefore, to compare Lord Vishnu and the Jiva Tattva or consider them on an equal level. The Mayavadi philosophers equalize the Jivas and the Supreme Lord and consider them to be one. But that is the greatest offense to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Here in the material world, we have practical experience that a superior person is worshipped by an inferior one. Similarly, Purushottama, the greatest, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna or Lord Vishnu is always worshipped by others. Prithu Maharaj therefore decided to engage in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Prithu Maharaj is considered to be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, but he is called the Shakti Avesha incarnation. Another significant word in this verse is Gun Alayam, which refers to Vishnu as a reservoir of all transcendental qualities. The Mayavadi philosophers take the absolute truth to be nirgun, without qualities, in accordance with the impersonalistic view. But actually, the Lord is a reservoir of all the good qualities. One of the most important qualities of the Lord is his inclination for his devotees, for which he is called Bhakta Vatsala. The devotees are always very much inclined to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord. And the Lord is also very much inclined to accept loving service from his devotees. In that exchange of service, there are many transcendental transactions which are called transcendental qualitative activities. Some of the transcendental qualities of the Lord are that he is omniscient, omnipresent, all pervasive, all powerful, the cause of all causes, the absolute truth, the reservoir of all pleasures, the reservoir of all knowledge, the all auspicious, and so on. Maharaj Prithu desired to serve the Lord with the goddess of fortune. But this desire does not mean that he was situated on the platform of Madhurya Rasa. The goddess of fortune is engaged in the service of the Lord in the rasa of Madhurya, conjugal love. Although her position is on the chest of the Lord, the goddess of fortune, in her position as a devotee, takes pleasure in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj was thinking only of the lotus feet of the Lord. Because he is on the platform of Dasaras, of servitorship of the Lord. From the next verse, we learn that Prithu Maharaj was thinking of the goddess of fortune as a universal mother, Jaganmata. Consequently, there was no question of his competing with her on the platform of Madhurya Rasa. Nonetheless, he feared that she might take offense at his engaging in the service of the Lord. This suggests that in the absolute world, there is sometimes competition between servitors in the service of the Lord, but such competition is without malice. In the Vaikuntha worlds, if a devotee excels in the service of the Lord, others do not become envious of his excellent service, but rather aspire to come to the platform of that service. So yes, Prithu Maharaj is expressing his deep and earnest desire to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. So time and again, the acharyas have expressed one very amazing aspect. Uh, the amazing aspect is the acharyas uh, the acharyas have always uh, expressed that their desire to serve the Lord is not just a figment of sentiment. It has a very strong and substantial basis. Here Prithu Maharaj is also referring. He's telling the Lord, who would not like to serve the Lord, who is filled with all the transcendental qualities, oceanic transcendental qualities. And therefore, Mother Lakshmi is completely obsessed about or absorbed in service of the Lord. And Prabhupada explains that further, that Mother Lakshmi, who is in such an elevated position that she had a position at the Lord's chest, an eternal position at the Lord's chest. Even Mother Lakshmi, who is at such an elevated position, her absorption is to serve the lotus feet of the Lord. So why should not anyone serve the lotus feet of the Lord? We have seen Arjuna offers a similar prayer. Oh Lord, I surrender to you. But don't think I'm just a sentimental friend. That out of sentiment I am surrendering to. Are the greatest saints and acharyas have surrendered at your lotus feet? Why should I not? And Prahlad Maharaj is speaking in his beautiful prayers. And Prahlad Maharaj is telling that, oh Lord, my heart only hankers for your lotus feet. And I just hanker for service at your lotus feet. But don't think I am a sentimental fool. Shishnitai Chand, Gaur Chand Bhagwan ki jai. Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani Sudarshan Maharaj ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. And Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that don't think I am a sentimental fool, that I am offering worship to you. I have proof. I have seen my own father, who was invested with so much power that he was invincible in the whole world. And I have seen his powers. He could do anything. With the movement of his eyebrows, he could change seasons. He could, now all the demigods, the devatas were at his beck and calling. He could do anything. He could change climate, he could change seasons. He could get any tree to produce any fruit. He could do anything. That was Hiranyakashipu. And I have seen. That your lordship, you smashed him up in a moment. You smashed him up in a moment. Therefore, I am surrendering to you. Because you're the greatest of the great. So time and again, acharyas have exemplified that yes, their Sharanagati is not just sentimental, is not just some burst of emotion. Somehow or the other, that emotion came and that emotion got channelized towards Krishna. Rather, it has that their feelings of Sharanagati and surrender is that of divine love. Is having a very their feelings of divine love are having a very solid foundation. Very solid foundation. Mm. Similarly, Uddhavji is mad about Krishna and mad after Krishna. But he's telling, he's justifying his madness. He's telling who can stop himself from being mad after Krishna? Who is that person who will not take shelter of Krishna? Just see how merciful is Krishna. He's telling, just see how merciful is Krishna. That he gave Putana, who came to poison Krishna, the position of his own mother, his own Dhatri. Kamva dayalum sharanam brajema. Who is that person? Who else you will take shelter of other than Krishna? Who gave the position of his own mother, Dhatri, to whom? To that wish, to that Balaghatani, Putana, who had come with the most powerful poison to offer to Krishna. Who else one should take shelter of? And Prithu Maharaj is speaking the same thing, that Krishna is having all transcendental qualities. Therefore, I just want to serve Krishna, nobody else. And you see, Mother Lakshmi is also serving, is it not? So you see, another aspect very beautiful, Prithu Maharaj is highlighting another beautiful principle of Krishna consciousness here, or a devotee's life. Which is very amazing. And here Prithu Maharaj is telling, just see Mother Lakshmi. She is holding a lotus, she is serving Lord. And I want to do that same service. I will compete with Mother Lakshmi. And there should not be any fight, but I will compete with Mother Lakshmi. So he is, and Prabhupada understood, he may get bewildered hearing this sentence, that what is he wanting and what is he aiming at, actually. And therefore, Prabhupada gives, towards the end of the purport, Prabhupada gives a very beautiful explanation, actually. So the point is that every time, you see, devotees, so you see, even great devotees always keep a role model in front of them. So here Prithu Maharaj is wanting to serve Krishna, and he is telling that what kind of service? Just like Mother Lakshmi. Just like Mother Lakshmi. So he is telling, just like Mother Lakshmi, I want to serve like that. So you see, every great devotee keeps a role model in front of him. And now this attitude which Prithu Maharaj is showing now, his spirit of actually competing and trying to match with the quality of service of Mother Lakshmi is actually and factually his attempt to take shelter of Mother Lakshmi, and by her mercy improve his own service to Krishna. That is the point, actually. That is the point. So that means that the spirit of the transcendental competition is not that of fight, or is not that of proving oneself, but the spirit of transcendental competition is that of taking shelter of, is that of Sharanagati. That, and therefore Prabhupada is mentioning that point, that a devotee, he doesn't want to compete. When he sees somebody is doing higher service than him, then he wants to take shelter of that devotee. And that spirit is being expressed by Prithu Maharaj in these words, that I will compete with Mother Lakshmi. That means I'll completely take shelter of Mother Lakshmi. That is the point, actually. That is the point which is highlighted. So this is transcendental competition. Not it is not boxing. It is not boxing that, okay, I will knock her off and I will, and I will be the undisputed servitor. No, no, no. That is not the spirit. The spirit is that of taking shelter. So every devotee, this is the hallmark. That means every devotee always looks forward to a devotee who is more advanced than him, more intense than him, and in the core of his heart, he takes shelter of that devotee, and in that way, he improves his devotion or service. This is not just a principle, this is the sum and bonum of spiritual life. This is the essence. So, and this has been highlighted so profusely and prominently in Brihad Bhagavatamritam, which is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in Brihad Bhagavatamritam, there are only two stories. Is it? One of them, Narad Muni wants to understand who is the greatest devotee. Is it not? Who is the greatest devotee? And whomever he reaches out to, they're telling, no, 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 no. I am not a devotee yet. But I want to be a devotee. Is it not? I will tell you who is the great devotee. Is it not? So you see, everyone is telling like that. Is it not? And Narad Muni goes to Indra, then he sends him to Brahmaji. Is it? Brahmaji sends him to? And Lord Shiva sends him to? No, it goes to Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj sends him to Hanumanji. And Hanumanji sends to the Pandavas. And that's how it goes to the gopis. And the gopis will say, we have no love for Krishna. Who has love for Krishna? Who has love for Krishna? The gopis will say, who has love for Krishna? Radharani. And what is Radharani's attitude? Her attitude is, everyone else is a better devotee, better than me. That is Radharani's attitude. This is Krishna consciousness. Is it not? That way. So every devotee keeps a higher devotee in that way as a goal, or you can say not as a goal, but as a shelter. So not as a goal to knock off and boss over, but as an eternal shelter. Is it not? So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. So that means that the transcendental competition, which sometimes scriptures and acharyas highlight, is basically all about Sharanagati. Is it not? Yeah. So when one says that I will become as competent as the other Vaishnav, then that means that I will take such a strong shelter that the entire intensity and mercy of that Vaishnav can come in me. Is it? By that mercy, I can also serve, expand the service to Krishna. That is the point. Not that, okay, I can, next election, I will be the chief minister. Not like that. So therefore, Prabhupada gives a beautiful explanation here. So when Prabhupada is telling that Prithu Maharaj is not having a desire to be situated on Madhurya Rasa, he is on Dasya Rasa, is happy. He wants to serve rather Mother Lakshmi. Is it not? So there is no question of his competing with Mother Lakshmi on the platform of Madhurya. So And then Prabhupada in the last line he is telling, so he is, rather aspiring to come to the platform of that service. So the aspiration is of Sharanagati, not of overthrowing. That is very beautifully explained here. And as Prabhupada says, that is going to be expanded in the further in the next verse. Jagat Janayam Jagadisha Vaishasam Syadev Yat Karamani Naha Samihitam Karosi Falga Apiyurudena Vatsala Swaeva Drishnaye Bhiratasya Kintaya. My dear Lord of the universe, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, is the mother of the universe. And yet I think that she may be angry with me because of my intruding upon her service and acting on that very platform to which she is very much attached. Yet I am hopeful that even though there is some misunderstanding, you will take my part, for you are very much inclined to the poor. And you always magnify even insignificant service unto you. Therefore, even though she becomes angry, I think that there is no harm for you, because you are so self-sufficient that you can do without her. Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is well known for always massaging the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Lord Narayan in every detail. He takes care not only of his lotus feet, but also of the household affairs of the Lord as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans him while he eats, smooths sandalwood pulp on his face, and sets his bed and sitting places in the right order. In this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord. And there is hardly any opportunity for any devotee to intrude upon his daily activities. Prithu Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his intrusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant devotee like Prithu Maharaj? All this was not very likely. Yet Prithu Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. Prithu Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals and sacrifices according to karma kanda or fruitive activities. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithu Maharaj the highest perfectional stage of life, namely devotional service. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead by means of such sacrifices. But the Lord is so kind, he accepts a little insignificant service, and therefore it is stated in the Vishnu Puran that by following the regulative principles of Varnashrama Dharma, one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, the performer of the sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. Prithu Maharaj therefore expected that his insignificant service to the Lord would be accepted by him as being greater than that of Mother Lakshmi Ji. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala, restless, because she is very restless and is always coming and going. So Prithu Maharaj indicated that even though she might go away out of anger, there would be no harm for Lord Vishnu because he is self-sufficient and can do anything and everything without the help of Lakshmi Ji. For example, when Garbhodakshaya Vishnu begot Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take any help from Lakshmi Ji, who was just sitting by him and massaging his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to be begotten, the husband impregnate the wife, and in due course of time, the son is born. But in the course of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu did not impregnate Lakshmi. Being self-sufficient, the Lord begot Brahma from his own navel. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj is confident that even if the goddess of fortune become angry with him, there would be no harm, neither to the Lord nor to himself. Okay. So this is quite transcendental because the whole point is that the first aspect which is being highlighted here is that you see the nature of an advanced devotee is that now when he serves, there is when he does service to Krishna, now then there is no then no stone is unturned. Yeah. So there is no loophole, is it not? There is no scope. So it is therefore Prabhupada is saying when Mother Lakshmi ji is serving Krishna, there is no scope. What is the scope? She does everything so perfectly. You cannot add on because she has already done everything to its acme of perfection. There is no scope. So what anyone else will do, because she does everything. That is the nature of the service attitude of a great soul, an advanced soul. So this is quite transcendental. So now the point is that then you may say, oh, if there is no scope which a devotee will leave, and spiritual life is eternal, by the way, because there is no retirement. It's an eternal service being talked about. So now there is no retirement, and an advanced devotee uh, 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 will do all the service by himself or herself. Uh, then this is very this is a deadlock. How will anybody else enter into the service of the Lord? So so this is quite transcendental, really transcendental. This is like that, and this is experience. So here it is being said, if Mother Lakshmi is serving Vishnu, then who else can serve Vishnu? There is no scope. There is no scope. So is it true? Yeah, it is completely true. So we see in the pastimes of Shri Ramayana, when Hanumanji, so actually Hanumanji used to do a lot of service all through, ever since he met Lord Krishna, I mean Lord Ramachandra. But because he was in the forest and there was, uh, not much was noticed because the whole focus was to get Mother Lakshmi, back. Now when he was in Ayodhya, he was continuing the same service attitude, and now he was even more happy because, now he doesn't have to cross ocean and be separate from Lord Ramachandra in that way. And he is in Ayodhya only. Every now and then he is with the Lord. So Hanumanji very ecstatic, and he was doing all services, all services. But now because there was no war and there was no any such no any such tribulation time. So then Hanumanji's activities got noticed. Because the point, and there was a big problem in Ayodhya. The big problem was that Ayodhya Vasis wanted to serve Lord Ramachandra, and Lord Ramachandra had come after 14 years, but Hanumanji would not leave any service. By that time, they would think of starting to serve Hanumanji would finish that service, because he was Hanuman. Was Hanuman. Is it that? So this is the nature of a devotee, you see. This is the nature of a devotee. And then obviously that pastime is there, that then everybody complained. So they got irritated and they complained to Mother Sita that service allocation will be done. And in that seva allocation, Hanumanji was sitting the first, because he wanted to know what is his service. And all the services were listed down and allotted, and Hanumanji was not given any seva. He got very irritated. Supremely irritated. So what is the use of my life? I have no service to Krishna. See, this is the nature of a devotee. This is really transcendental, like that. Really, really transcendental, like that. So, so that is the point. So the point is that there is a big dichotomy. A great devotee will occupy the full space of service and the full spectrum of service. So then an upcoming devotee, what he will do? So is it not? कोई succession ही नहीं है, ये तो eternal है. This is eternal. So this is very transcendental, actually, very, very transcendental. So how is this transcendental deadlock resolved? So that is the point. How is this transcendental deadlock resolved? So you see, because this is so transcendental, but this deadlock does exist. And because of this, Prithu Maharaj is a bit fearful. So he wants to ensure that Krishna, you please, guarantee, Mother Lakshmi, she is already very lofty situated and all that. But I, for me, it is a lifeline because I am in the ICU. Is it not? So I need your favor. So that's what he is praying. That even if there is discrepancy, please don't leave my side, because I have nothing. I have nothing. So please be always with me. That is the kind of feeling which he is expressing. That is the kind of feeling which now here Prithu Maharaj is expressing. Very transcendental. This is supremely transcendental, actually. So he is. No, so what he is basically wanting is to serve, is it not? And he is ensuring that service. So Prabhupada is telling that because of that fear, he is now, catching on to the Lord. That okay, you please at least. I am insignificant, but don't leave me, because what else is the hope for me? And now I don't have any battery backup. I'll be 100% discharged. Is it not? So that is what he's saying. But now the interesting principle is that the very interesting principle here is that how is this transcendental deadlock actually resolved? No. How is this transcendental deadlock actually resolved? No. This transcendental deadlock is resolved by the Lord in two ways. No. No. Is resolved by the Lord in two ways. No. And that is also completely transcendental. So the first way is, no. The first way is that the Lord says, okay, there's no need to fight, there's no need of insecurity, everybody will get full share. How? The Lord says, I will expand. Don't worry. So here was Bali Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj, a great Mahabhagavat Vaishnav, and he had asked for, so he asked the benediction, he just surrendered to the Lord, but the Lord became so pleased that he said, okay, I am going to reward you everything. What to reward you everything? I am going to give myself only to you. No, you gave me everything. I will also give you everything. What to save everything? I will give myself only to you. So you going to Sutala, I will also come to Sutala with you. Now Lord Vishnu went to Sutala. And Bali Maharaj, so on every door, on every window, he would see Lord Vishnu. Is it not? And therefore, Bali Maharaj would always keep looking at the door and windows, like that, because he would see Lord Vishnu, like that. And Lord Vishnu and the Bali Maharaj are having their loving reciprocation. Now in the Vaikuntha there was crisis. Lord Vishnu not there, So Mother Lakshmi came, got irritated. They said, what is this? My husband, who has eaten away my husband, So where is my, who has taken away my husband, So I want my husband back. So there was this great fight, is it not? And how is this fight resolved, The Lord Vishnu said, okay, I will expand into two. Don't worry. I'll come to Vaikuntha also. I'll remain eternally with Bali Maharaj. So that is the point. This is why Krishna's expand. This is why there are infinite expansions of Krishna, infinite expansions. So Krishna can give us exclusive rights to every living entity on himself. To himself. Exclusive rights to himself, to every his own exclusive rights, service rights to every living entity. Because Krishna expands infinitely. This is the point, like that. So this is one transcendental way in which the Lord resolves it. And there is another transcendental way in which the Lord resolves it. Very beautiful transcendental way. That is also completely transcendental. So the other way is what?